from the vault, high atop the pastoral center of the Diocese of Camden, you're listening to Talking Catholic.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Talking Catholic. It's Kari Janisse here, and I am so excited to be with all of my very good friends, the hosts of Talking Catholic. Welcome, guys. Good to have you with us.
Hi, Kari.
Hi,
Howdy,
Mike.
howdy.
Hello, everybody.
So, in addition to Kari, we have myself, Mike Walsh. We do not, I want to say from the get-go, we do not have Lori Power from Talking Saints because she has now become famous and is high-hatting us all the time and refuses to show up to stuff unless she gets a special invitation. So, or I could be reading something into that. That just might be me. But who else is with us?
Doing the good work of the church. I am certain of that, knowing Lori.
You're right about that. She's off being a saint somewhere.
Yeah. So we got Mike Walsh. Who else do we have here with us?
It's Mike Bress here, aka Greg, for this podcast, so as to not confuse the Mikes from Catholic schools. Hello, everybody.
And Marianela Nunez again from Catholic schools as well. Happy to be here this morning.
Jen Mauro over here checking in.
And Pete Sanchez checking in. Hello, everybody. Glad to be here.
All right.
And five of us are actually in the building together, but because one of us couldn't make it, we're doing this over Zoom. So you can blame Kari for any sound problems. But we wouldn't want to do this hostful episode without Kari. So thank you for joining us, Kari.
So kind of you. Thank you. I'm sorry. Today is actually my first official day off of my vacation, and I'm spending it with all of you guys. So I'll take the Zoom session rather than the 30-minute drive to and from Camden.
I respect that.
Christmas wrapping to do later today while my son's still in school. So
I hear you. I left a sick child at home with my wife, so she'll be taking him to the doctor. So it's one of those crazy days. And Jen Mauro just spilled an entire cup of coffee all over herself, literally right before the episode started. So we are off to a great start this Monday.
You know, as much as I love coffee, once I pour it on myself, I'm very grumpy for the rest of the day because I don't like the smell of coffee on me.
yeah.
So I'm like, especially because you know what? I ironed this morning. I do not iron. I know. So I'm extra grumpy because I ironed and now I have to wash it because it's full coffee.
Sorry.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas.
I hope you still have a little coffee left to drink though, because that's the worst when you spill it all. Because not only do you have coffee on you, you don't even have any coffee left.
I have a very little bit left, and it's my favorite. It's the chestnut praline with oat milk. It's like a little dessert in a cup, and I was like, you know what? I deserve that because fire alarm has been going off in the Pastoral Center building all day yesterday, which was production day for the Catholic Star Herald, and at least twice already this morning. So I was like, I deserve a good coffee, and then I properly poured it all over.
Now, what did you have?
I wanted to bring this crew together because and have this episode all be about Christmas. But I've now realized, listening to everybody so far, that we should really make this a Festivus episode where we just air our grievances instead. No. We are, by the time this episode comes out, we will be 2 days away from Christmas. It will be all of our attitudes will have changed, and we will be filled with Christmas joy and the Christmas spirit, and we will be all excited for the coming of the Lord. And at least that's what I'm choosing to believe how we will be. But I wanted to have this nice hostful episode with a little conversation about Christmas and, you know, the things that we're looking forward to and the things from our past that we appreciate. Now, Pete, this is something that you've ruminated on over the years. Christmas time for you. What are the memories that brings back? Like what's the joy that comes back from it?
Well, I think of the Christmas music. I think of the Christmas trees in my house. I remember one specific memory that, you know, when you said the word memory, Mike, I immediately thought of the time we had 2 Christmas trees. And it never happened before. We had went to my family and I every year, growing up, all packed into the station wagon. Went to the tree place where we got it was always an adventure because we go different places looking for the perfect tree. Well, we found it and we strapped it to the car with the rope on the top of the roof. And we were coming home. And I remember it was on Route 70 and we lost the tree. The tree fell off the car and we went back because we didn't know where the tree was. We said we lost the tree. And they gave us another one. They were very kind to give us another one. And then driving home, we found the tree on the side of the road further down. So we got that tree. And so in my house, it's the two-tree Christmas. So that is kind of what I remember. But you know what? Funny enough, I was reading something and I did not ever think I'd be referring to Martha Stewart on this podcast. But now that I think about it, I was reading something about her where she recommends for Christmas, you have two trees in every room. That is the perfect ratio between tree and room. Now, according to Martha Stewart.
Two trees in every room?
Yes, that's according to Martha Stewart. So
I have zero room in my house for even one tree. I can't imagine two in each room.
Also, I don't have Martha Stewart money. I don't think I'm pulling that off.
I bet she has a tree line and she just try to sell it.
I was just gonna say it's probably because she has shares in trees. Yeah. So she
By the way, that's not a joke. That is actually true. I have owned a Martha Stewart tree in my life. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It was a good tree. It was a pre-lit tree back before pre-lit trees were the norm. I was like very happy about it.
I heard you had to buy a new Christmas tree this year.
We were looking to buy a new tree
over coffee and donuts.
Yeah, we were lamenting the fact that we were going to have to buy a new one because we had a pre-lit tree, a different one, and it had lasted us a long time, like 7 or 8 years. And the problem with pre-lit trees is when the lights burn out, then it's a little difficult. You know, you try to replace the bulbs, and what we ended up doing was literally just stringing some matching lights into the sections that were out, and we're going to get another year out of this tree.
I've done that. Good fix.
You need to buy it in January, Mike. Take advantage of the sales. You know, that's what I did.
You are absolutely right. That is the way to go, Marianela. That post-Christmas discounts. How about you, Marianela? What memories of the Christmas holidays, ruminate in your mind from youth?
So I think one of my favorite memories is when I was little, maybe like 8 or 7, I don't know. Like my grandmother used to have these nativity set, and it was so old, and we didn't have a lot to kind of buy Christmas stuff every year. So this was something that she cherished a lot, and so baby Jesus was wrapped in cotton to keep it protected. So at the time, we usually put it on the night of. So at midnight, she would take baby Jesus out of the cotton and we would all see it. And then she would place it in the manger, which was kind of like one of my favorite, and how much respect and love she had for, the baby that was wrapped there. Like it was just such a cute representation of Christmas, and it stayed in my heart forever. I still remember, and I was very little.
Oh, that's lovely. So spiritual. Greg, what dumb reminders of your Christmas youth do you have?
So I was thinking about this yesterday. For those who don't know, I think I've mentioned it maybe once or twice in the podcast, but my father is actually Jewish. So although I'm a practicing Catholic, we have the opportunity to sort of be a part of the Hanukkah festivities as well. And one of the things that my grandmother, who was my mother's mother, devout Catholic her entire life, liked to do for my father was host a Hanukkah party. And my cousins loved it and still ask to this day. We are all above the age of 30, I think, at this point, or the majority of us are over the age of 30 and still ask, can we have a Hanukkah party? So it's odd to talk on a Christmas podcast about Hanukkah, but that's a memory that, is that I always have. And I think also that the root of family always comes back, because that's a big part of my Christmas season is going to see family. We have a brunch every year, and it's a chance for everybody to come together. We have the dinner, afterwards, and so it's it's just a chance. It's a great opportunity to see everybody catch up with those we haven't seen, and and have a lot of fun together. So that's the big memory I think from my childhood, and that continues to this day. So it's great.
I'm curious. Did the Hanukkah parties include Hanukkah food as well?
Yes. So my dad did a lot of that, and that's we also have family who are close. They live right over the bridge in Philly, so we would go over there for meals as well, and that was a big part of it, I think, for me. I actually, when I was in college, they made latkes one day in the cafeteria, but I called them latkes, and the guy looked at me weird. And I said, I said, the potato pancakes. And he was like, oh, okay, great. So like, I knew what they were, and he didn't. So yeah, the food was a big part of it, which my dad, loves to do and embrace. And yeah, I think and interestingly enough, the gambling, the kids love to do the dreidel game and all the chocolate
Sure.
points and that. So I think it's always interesting to add a level of gambling to a religious holiday for anybody.
Now, Jen, like Marianela, you grew up in another country called Texas. What was the holidays like down in Texas?
So we would always get together at my house because I lived with my grandmother, and it was called the big house because that's where my grandmother was. That's where that's where everything happens. So my aunts and uncles would come over, and we celebrated Christmas on Christmas Eve. That's a big German thing, and my family's German, so we'd go out to look at Christmas. Oh, first we'd go to church like around 6, and then we would go out to look at Christmas lights, I'm using the air quotes, and then when we came home from looking at Christmas lights, Santa had come. His timing is great, so he would always come when we were out, and then we'd come out, and because there was like 15 people there, the Christmas tree was just full of presents under the tree. And my grandmother had one of those record players that's basically a big piece of furniture. It's like longer than a desk, right? And we would put on, of course, your classics like your Perry Como records and Frank Sinatra Christmas, but mainly we would just put on random polka records, which have nothing to do with Christmas. And we would open Christmas presents to polka music. It was kind of just a polka Christmas thing that we did. That's one of our family traditions. So much so that when I was in Texas a couple weeks ago, my cousin, we're all adults now, was very excited to bust out a Christmas polka and said, look, we finally have a polka that is for the season. It was immediately shunned. Nobody wants it. They were like, no, we want the regular, good old-fashioned polka. Get that Christmas polka out of here.
Wait, Jen,
it's interesting. Oh, go ahead, Pete.
No, I was just going to say, Jen, when you say bust out Christmas polka, does this mean he had the music or did he play the music?
Oh, it's a record for the record player.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, what's interesting about what you said, Jen, about shunning the new thing. I think more than any other holiday, Christmas traditions are to be kept and not messed with. Because anytime I attempt to, using air quotes, improve any of the elements of Christmas, I get vilified by my immediate and extended families for trying to add something new to Christmas. They're like, no, we want exactly what we've done for the last 40 years. And we want nothing, all the same food, all the same games, all the same frolicking, no newness.
No.
I'm like, okay, I'm cool with that.
And
What about you, Kari?
Wait, I got to say that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
because our Christmas tree, I don't know about y'all, but our Christmas tree always looked like, Christmas threw up on it. There's no ornaments that match. They're all from different generations and different people. And so, when I thought when I thought I was going to be an adult, still don't know if I'm an adult. When I was an adult, I was like, I'm going to have the aforementioned Martha Stewart tree. It's all going to match. It's going to be pink or purple. Yeah, no, it's now also, the tradition continues. My tree looks like Christmas threw up all over it. It's full of Star Wars and Star Trek ornaments as well. And sometimes if we put our tree up late, the stormtrooper helmet becomes the top of the tree.
That's cool.
It's
I
awesome.
love it, Jen.
But
I
it's
want
It's
pictures.
also very random as well. And now we're adding little homemade ornaments to it
Oh
additionally.
yeah.
And I still have my homemade ornaments on it because my mom passed them all down. So our tree is very full, very eclectic. And I wish I had room for two trees, even just two trees in general. I don't even have room for a second tree in my house. It's too small. So I'd love an all Disney tree, but that's not happening anytime
I
soon.
have friends that have done the thing where, because of the tree issue and the homemade ornaments that come out, that eventually they have the bigger tree that
Mhm.
is like the nice ornaments, the nice setup. It matches all that, and then there is a smaller tree that the kids can have. And it's just, that's where the Christmas vomit happens, is on that tree. There's like,
That's
so there's like a nicer tree, and then there's the other one, the more probably joyful tree, but
Yeah.
not as nice.
I do enjoy my tree. That's as eclectic as it is, with so many random ornaments. I really do like. I look at each one and I know the meaning behind each one, so
Mhm.
that part of it's fun. But a tradition that our family had growing up, it's going to my dad's side of the family for the seven fishes. Which little shout out to Sister Cecilia, who is straight from Italy. I was talking to her. If those who don't know her, she's from the Franciscan Missionaries of the Infant Jesus, and she is lovely and wonderful and has been here the last 2 years from Italy and lives in Cherry Hill with the sisters. So I was like, "Oh, sister, does your family do the seven fishes?" And she looks at me and she goes, "That's an Italian American thing, not an Italy thing." And I was like, "Oh,
Hmm.
oh, my whole childhood has just been like tarnished, like hearing that." I was like, I thought this was super Italian. Our family did it every year. They still do it every year. So that kind of burst my little Italian bubble of Christmas. But we do that every year. My dad's side, the Palmieri side of the family. And it rotates houses through him and his three siblings. And one year, it was at my aunt's house, and she lived in Pennsylvania at the time. And my cousin, who was probably maybe young teens, 13, 14 at the time, he was always very artistic, very always theatrical, and loved to put together cool things for the family that had those different aspects to it. So he decided to do a live nativity with all of the cousins. He was the oldest of the cousins. So each of us had a role. There was even camels that Mary and Joseph, well, actually a donkey, I should say, that Mary and Joseph were on their back. So one of my cousins was the donkey. And then there was others that were camels. There was others that were wise men, and all of us had a role. And it was just like this special production that we still talk about to today, that each of us had a role. And I think I was an angel, but we even had costumes and lines. It was very, very beautiful and very heartwarming. All of the parents loved it, and we still talk about to this day how we did the live nativity the one year, produced by my cousin Steven. So he did a great job with that.
so your showmanship began at a very early age there, Kari.
That angel debut. It was really wonderful. So yes, that's my greatest memory.
How old were
Oh,
you,
that's
Carrie?
Oh, at the time I was probably like 6 or 7. Yeah, I was young.
Wow,
nice.
that's so cute.
That's
It was very
adorable.
fun.
And Mr. Walsh, what are your Christmas memories?
Well, the danger in asking me that question is that Christmas time is actually my favorite time of the year. Like I know I don't exude Christmas joy ever, but my favorite times to ruminate on and to plan for and to get ready for are anything around Christmas, to the point that I've now become one of those. You know how people have birthday week? I now have Christmas week. I make we have an early Christmas. It used to be a Christmas Eve party, then it became a Christmas Eve party. And because of the way Christmas is rolling out this year, it's a Christmas Eve party, because we're having to have it a couple of days before the actual Christmas. But I have to include all of the elements from Christmas past, which includes talking about like cousins and things like that, which includes there must be the annual playing of street football, no matter the temperature, no matter the weather,
Yeah.
with with whomever is invited and willing to play street football. So last year we had cousins and uncles and girlfriends and boyfriends and second cousins all out in the street outside of my house in like 2-degree weather, uh, playing street football. And it was one of my favorite things. I mean, it just dropped passes all over the place, cheating, rampant cheating. I was holding left and right. I almost fell down at one point because I'm now an old man, and my cousin had to literally keep me from smashing my head on the ground by holding me up. But I wouldn't change any of that. And now we do things like there are certain elements that have been added over the years, like now for the Christmas Eve, whatever. We also do Christmas Eve Trivial Pursuit, which is all Christmas themed Trivial Pursuit questions, and it is fabulous. And because you think you're not going to know the answer to everything because you love Christmas, it ends up going for about 4 hours because there are some really, like, you're about to hit that final pie and you get the hardest question on the planet. And then you got to go back in. So it's a long game, but we have a blast. There's a ton of food, and and then the Christmas day, waking up and opening presents and going to mass the night before, usually midnight or midnight-esque mass, because it's hard to find a midnight mass anymore. And then for us, I used to say that Christmas Day was the Bataan Death March, because you would literally wake up at 7 a.m. and Christmas Day didn't end until midnight, because you would go to house to house to house to house to visit all the grandparents, all the great grandparents, whoever I had. There were divorces in my family, so there were even more people to go visit. But I loved it. I thought it was, I couldn't understand people would tell me about their Christmas and how they said, well, we had some family over and then we went to the movies. Like, who has time for the movies? I got like 16 other families to see. I have so many people. So for me, it was always about the family and the food and the goofing around and just kind of stuff like that. Like, I love it.
Yeah.
I love everything about it. So,
And Mike, I think Mike, with the driving, you're talking about, I remember the 23rd. I should have mentioned this. This is another core memory, is where on the 23rd, my uncle and my cousin were both born on the 23rd. That was her birthday. So we go up to the 23rd for a party. All the families there are 60 people. And we drive back down. And then the 25th, we do it all over again. So it was just like, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I see the same family back in the old days. I would see the same family 3 days in a row because we would have 3 separate parties. We didn't have to have 3 separate parties, but because there were divorces, there would be one group missing from each of the parties. So basically, we'd see everybody on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and then the day after Christmas to see the last of the families. And I never got tired of it. Like now, like there are other people in the family that have been sort of the hangers on. They're like, Mike, you just saw these people a week ago. Why are we seeing them again? Because I want to. Because these are my people. I want to see them every day.
And Mike, these are my people. He's got a little joy in him. I like it. It only comes out probably on the 23rd to the 25th, but hey,
that's it.
You like to be around people. That's really cool.
Yes. And I believe it is inspired by the birth of Christ. Because so we've been talking about all these elements, right? And most of them secular in nature, but they all derive from this incredible moment in our collective history and our spiritual history that has shaped the world for the last 2,000 years. And we may not realize from time to time, and this time of year is definitely difficult to maybe focus on what this season or the soon-to-be season is all about, and it is easy to get lost and all that. But I actually take comfort in the fact that even without realizing it, even if I'm taking part in secular Christmas, knowing that still emanates from the original portion of Christmas. So my follow-up question to each of you, thinking about church life and going to mass and things like that, or what about the spiritual elements of Christmas? I'll start with you, Kari. In whether it be Christmas night mass or, the run up to Advent into Christmas, what were some of the spiritual things about Christmas that you really appreciate?
Oh, well, I love the Advent season. And I would say in the last few years, I really tried to put a great focus on it. And something that has been really exciting this year, I've really been into the Hallow app since last Lent. I got onto it last Lent and been using it all year. There's a trivia every day that me and the students take, and we compare our answers. I'm not promoting another app or podcast or anything else, but I am. So, because if it helps you grow in your spiritual life, hey, we got to put it out there for our people. And this has been one that has helped me personally grow in my own spiritual life. So I've been doing the Advent challenge on there, but I also have my son doing the kids Advent challenge, and it's called Jesse Tree Tales. And it has been he loves it. He can't wait to listen to it each day. It's super well done and he enjoys it. And I've been enjoying listening and even learning a thing or two through the little kids version of it as well. So that preparation has been really great. But I would also say kind of lead up to that preparation, that Advent part is the lead up to the Christmas Eve Mass. For me, that is where it all, comes together. We always go to quote unquote midnight Mass, which at St. Bridget's University Parish is 11 p.m. So I'll be there at that one. And often there's a few students there. Some of them are serving, which is really nice. Mike, will you be there? Will you be at that Mass?
I think I will.
You
It's
were there
it's gonna be a weird.
last year.
Yeah, so typically what happens is I photograph the Bishop Sullivan's whatever mass he's going to, which this year I think is at 6 p.m. And then I'll go with my family to midnight, adjacent mass.
It goes into midnight. It ends past
Yeah.
midnight, which is nice.
Mhm.
So I love
Like
that.
2 masses in a day.
2 masses in a day. I am all about the faith on Christmas Eve.
Oh, holy. That's awesome. Yeah. So we love that Mass. And then it kind of leads into us, taking our son home, getting him, he's usually passed out already, which is nice. And then getting things settled and getting excited for Christmas morning. So that has that way to kind of lead into, I guess you could say, midnight is my favorite aspect of the spiritual life of surrounding Christmas. And then Christmas Day is full of just having a 6-year-old open gifts, which is super fun. And then family. And for me, you were talking about running all around, Mike, but for me, it's a 2-hour drive up the turnpike and then staying over, 2-hour drive back down. Then we're back up there again on Friday. So literally it's a lot of turnpike driving for me. Well, and that's where I get a lot of actually circling back around to that app. I listen to my podcast and my daily devotions through the Hallow app and through I'm finishing up Bible in a Year. I'm so excited to be on track finishing that up this year. So the turnpike driving is actually kind of lovely because I just play the podcast and I listen and I learn at the same time while driving. So that'll be my my whole spiritual wrap up for myself, especially finishing up Bible in a Year. I'm super excited. Again,
That's cool.
promoting Father Mike Schmitz.
We
Can't get
know
away from that dude.
Catholic as well, and all of our spiritual doses we have. All right, I'm done. I'm gonna pass to Marianela. What's your favorite spiritual aspect?
Well, so, this year and past year as well, I've been doing a lot with the Advent wreath, and so praying with the kids and my husband every Sunday night. We're kind of like making a moment for the family. And the kids have learned so much, about Advent. So like I'm also preparing a play for my church. Christmas play. And I've done that for the past 4 years now. So this year I'm very excited. We're changing the drama a little bit, and it's going to be like a family drama at the beginning that's going to end with the nativity scene at the end. And then baby Jesus coming out of the manger, going out to the parishioners, and they're going to be able to kind of like see baby Jesus. And this year, my daughter is married. So I'm very excited about that because she had been waiting, to be married for 4 years now that I've been doing this play. I'm like, okay, we'll do it this year. You'll be married. So, it's really cute. And I'm like excited to get the kids involved. I think it's a way to prepare for baby Jesus in a very kind of like practical way, in a way that also touches their hearts. So, this is what I've been doing. I'm very happy with this Advent season, and because I'm also hosting another show. I feel like I've been talking about Advent, a lot with previous hosts. Like, it's a weekly show as well. So I've learned a lot, and I think taking that aspect of the spirituality of it pretty seriously this year. So it's been very special.
It's great. How about you, Peter? What's your focus on your faith during Christmas Eve, that time period?
Well, I've been trying to do, well, during the season, I've been Advent season preparing. I've been trying to do the daily readings, and that's like the daily mass readings. Just have a book, the Magnificat. I'm plugging something else too. I love the Magnificat. It's good stuff.
I love it too. That's I'll
Yeah.
do that with you. I've been a Magnificat
Wait.
subscriber for over 20 years.
No, wow, not that far from me, but it's a good resource. And then my family used to do the midnight mass, the Latin mass at Mauro Ecclesiae, but it just got to be, we're a little bit further away than we'd like to be from there. So we do go to I would say midnight adjacent. We go, I think maybe one, yeah. I mean, we'll go Christmas Eve, probably about like 5 or 6, and then but then yeah, I mean, and something I've tried to do. I'm going to finish it. Is I listened to a great podcast about this guy who became Christian from listening to Handel's Messiah, and so on YouTube I was able to find it. So I watched. It's a big deal. If any don't know Handel's Messiah, Handel was a composer, and the Messiah is beautiful instrumentation, beautiful voices, choral music, and really, it's spiritual and Messiah, obviously, on Jesus. So it's about 2.5 hours long. I got probably 45 minutes in it until honestly I fell asleep. So my goal for this year is to listen to the whole thing on YouTube at some point, because I just think that's I could tell in those 45 minutes how it was transformative for me. Just the music, the voices, it put me into an atmosphere of grace, and that's something I'm looking forward to finishing before Christmas. Is that spiritual practice, and maybe make it a tradition. The Handel's Messiah. So I'm liking what I'm hearing so far.
That's great. Greg, how about you? What's your spirituality in addition to your Jewishness? What do you focus on during Christmas Eve?
Just trying to battle those two ideologies together is generally what I try to do. But no, what is really nice is over the last couple of years, my two kids who are now 11 and 12 are altar servers. So they are participating in the mass. So they're actually, we brave the marathon, Mike, that you've already mentioned, of doing actually Christmas morning mass. So we go at 9:30 before the rest of the day starts. But so they participate in that, which is wonderful for their connection. But we also sit as a family for dinner and read the Advent reflections. We get the little blue book from Mass, and everyone gets a chance to read, and then we talk about it. And it's interesting, and as a father, inspiring to watch them talk about the conversations deeper now. It's they want to learn, they want to talk about it. They're in Catholic schools, so they bring what they talk about at school and they bring it home, and that keeps that spirit. I think they know the secular part. They're of an age to know what Christmas for them is, and gifts and all of that, but they're always tied back to that spiritual part, and they remember, and they've recently talked more about, like, yeah, we can't believe other people are like that. They're breaching into the opinionated stage a little bit, but it's it feels so nice to have a real conversation with them, and my wife as well. But my wife and I have done that since we've been married, so now to have 4 people being able to really talk about the faith, especially this time period, and their maturity, watching their maturity each year to be able to talk about it a little bit more. We recently were talking about, how not so much this year, but in years past with the readings, especially early in Advent, about Revelation, and and that sort of the first 2 weeks of warning and preparation time. Now you can really talk about it. It's not as fearful or we don't have to kind of, I don't want to say dumb it down, but make it more friendly for the children, right? Now it's real conversation. So that's what I think has been great for me, has been able to just continue to talk about it each day and take a moment. Marianela and I were in a staff meeting yesterday where our superintendent talked about how just taking that moment to reflect, it's such a crazy time. And I think he said, one of our priests told him, it's like preparing for a child, which in reality, right, in some form or fashion it is, but it's also what it feels like when you're having a child, all the preparation that goes into it, and that moment, do you even have a moment to breathe? And I think in our little reflection book, it always says, and take a moment with the Lord. And my wife always says, when is that going to happen? But you have to let it happen. And so I think that's one of the things that we really try to emphasize during this time of year.
Oh, that's nice. How about you, Jen? How do you focus on your spirituality around the Christmas holiday?
I think from now on, I'm just gonna go to Greg's house because that
Yeah,
actually sounds
right?
pretty perfect. And I love the fact that you're having these conversations with your kids like that, and that they want to be part of the conversation.
I don't care for the corrections that I get sometimes because they have a lot more of the actual study of theology than I do. I used to get away with a lot of stuff, but without having to look it up. But yes, thank you. Yeah, it
It
is a
only
nice thing.
gets worse, Mike. I work with college students.
Oh yeah.
That's the hardest. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I like that. So Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve is probably one of personally my favorite masses of the year, except for also Holy Thursday. Just because we go to my parish, and I'm very close with the parish. So when we're there for Christmas Eve, I feel like I'm not just celebrating with, one or two people. I'm celebrating with 150, 200, however many people are in church, and I love that, which is what I guess, church community is about. But that's probably why I love to go so much. And I look forward to it all day. And then when you're there, we're focusing on, of course, the readings and why we're there, and just looking around knowing that I'm with all these people that, my parish is Long Beach Island. So there's many worship sites on the island. So we don't always all get together because of, the length of the island. So, this time of year also, we're only usually down in one church. So to get to see the whole community together is really what is for me. And, we have the friars, we have the Franciscan friars there. This year will be a little different because we had a good friend of one of the friars passed away this year. So I know that will be a little difficult for the parish and on all of us, and we'll be thinking about him. So, but that I've been thinking a lot about that. But that's life, and how the Christmas holidays, and we've all been talking about amazing memories, but sometimes it's not always joyful. We have, life is still going on, right? Like we still have our tough times too. And so I think that this Christmas Eve will be beautiful again, to be with everybody and my spiritual family. And yet we will also be lifting up Father John in prayer and memory, and that means a lot too.
Mm. That's I think that sense of community. And I was trying to think of what I was going to say about my own spirituality around the holidays, in addition to the joy I get from being able to go to mass twice on Christmas Eve. I will tell you that I could be wrong about this. I don't think I have ever gone to mass on Christmas Day. It's always been the kids' mass when I was a kid, like 4 or 6 o'clock on Christmas Eve. And when I had a kid, it was Christmas Eve. Otherwise, as soon as we were able to start going to midnight mass growing up, we went to midnight mass, and that was always my favorite. It was always I loved how cold it was outside, and then walking into a warm church. And then the church I grew up in a very modest church. Like, I didn't realize churches could be pretty until I went to college, basically. I thought all the churches I went to basically were Protestant knockoffs. Wasn't a lot of artwork. There wasn't a ton of stained glass. There was no real effects or anything like that. So it's just something for me about going back to a simple Catholic church. I really enjoy. And I love the midnight mass because it just feels, I don't know, there's a sense of anticipation, maybe because Christmas morning is the next morning. So I still bring that sense of anticipation when I do it. But I will tell all the pastors that if your church is cold on Christmas Eve night, you're doing it wrong. It's supposed to be warm and inviting. We should feel like we're in swaddled clothes. All right. So pastors, crank up the heat, please. Get tired of this shivering while I'm listening to a beautiful gospel.
Mike,
I want to be in the warm and what's that?
No, I was gonna say maybe that's why you like all the pomp and circumstance, because you were
I want
missing out on it.
candles. Yeah, exactly. Give me that joy. But to your point, Jen, I agree with you that there's something great about seeing that community come together. That's why I enjoy going back to the parish I grew up in, because I just love seeing all the people I haven't seen in a while. But I think that's sign of we've talked about this a couple of times about how tradition is so integral into Christmas and the things we were used to, because they just bring us such joy. Speaking of things that are integral to Christmas and bring us joy, and with it, hopefully are warm or warming, what are some of your favorite Christmas foods, whether dessertish or part of the meal? Greg, I know we've talked about your love of latkes, but is there anything from the Christmas plate that you enjoy?
I'm trying to think back, because probably it's actually Christmas Eve mass, or Christmas Eve, because my wife's family does, or attempts each year, and it's dwindled a bit each year, but does a version of the seven fishes, and I'm a big seafood fan, so I do
The
enjoy
Italian American tradition of
the
the
Italian
seven
American
dishes?
tradition.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And which I also love, because it statistically is the smallest percentage of their family background, but culturally it is 100%. And I love that aspect about their family. But I just, it's from noon until 8 o'clock, I think, or maybe even past that we have just food all day, and it's hors d'oeuvres that are seafood, shrimp and flounder and pasta. And that's probably my favorite. We laugh on the other side, because I'm not the biggest fan. In fact, do not at all like eggs, and most of the breakfast at brunch is egg based. So I'm a bagel, donut, and orange juice guy on at the brunch with
You're a
people.
continental breakfast guy, huh?
Yeah, that's all I'm doing during the actual day of breakfast. So I think I focus more on the food there, but I'm always excited for it. And yeah, so yeah, Christmas Day, I'm the worst person on when it comes to the food part.
Oh, how about you, Marianela? What's the food choice for you?
So, really enjoy the roasted pork. If you go to the Dominican Republic on December 24th, that's when we have the big dinner. So it's our tradition to have like the big, Christmas Eve dinner. And you go to the Dominican Republic, you would see the porks on like stick rolling on the streets, and people are kind of like going and getting their pork. Some families roast it on their own. So that I always remember that, and I really enjoy having some of that during Christmas.
That sounds delicious. I got another reason to go to the Dominican Republic now. Roast pork. How about you, Pete? What were some of those Christmas victuals that you love?
Jared, get it off mute. My so every year I look forward to what I call a Cuban Christmas. So growing up, my dad's side of the family is Cuban. We would go up to North Jersey on Christmas, and we would have empanadas, which were guava pies and meat pies, and we'd have rice and beans. We'd have one of my favorite things, tostones, fried
Oh,
plantains, and so we stopped going a few years ago on the 25th, but we go on the 23rd. So we stay home on the 25th. Now I'm with my immediate family here in South Jersey. So we picked up the Cuban Christmas on our own. So I do what they call the picadillo, which is like almost like a meat stew, ground beef stew, and don't really get the empanadas. I wish I could find a good empanada around here. Can't find them like you can in North Jersey, but I do make the tostones, which I love doing that. I think this this podcast reminds me I need to pick up some plantains on my way home from work.
well,
Because then what you have some Marianela?
I was gonna say, Pete, I know how to make really good ones, so I didn't know you like them. But you
Oh, I
need to
love
eat them
them.
hot. You need to eat them hot.
Well, you know what? We can do a tostone cook-off. That
Yes.
would be amazing. No, because I mean, once you know how to do it, it's very easy, but they're really like fried. They're just almost like potato chips, but they're even better. So I'm looking for the tostones, the Cuban food. It's good memories of family.
How about you, Carrie? What food sticks out in you other than the seven fishes, of course?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love all the Italian foods on Christmas Eve. And my favorite though was my grandmother's struffola or strufoli.
Mm.
It's like little cookie balls with like little bald sprinkles or jimmies on them and smothered in honey. Well, the honey first, then the sprinkles on top. And I used to always ask my grandmother to make me my own plate, so she would make it for me. I remember when I was in high school, we had an Italian Christmas party in our Italian language class. I took Italian in high school for 2 years. All I could say is ciao, buon Natalia as well. And that's about all I got. But we had an Italian Christmas party and you had to bring in an Italian dessert. So I made my grandmother make that as well. And my teacher went crazy because it was so like authentic and delicious tasting. So God rest her soul. She passed away in 2014, but I miss that so much. She did such a great job with that. So it actually was kind of providential because right around then is when I went gluten-free, so I can't really even eat it anymore anyway. But at the same time, I think of her every year on Christmas. She was the heart of Christmas Eve for sure. And definitely that authentic Italian cooking is missed. But some of my aunts have it down pretty well, especially her daughter. She was really took on that cooking aspect. So go Italians on Christmas Eve. Enjoy your Italian American seven fishes and all of the other delicious delicacies that is part of it.
Awesome. What about you, Jen? Any good German foods out of Texas?
No. But I'm going to keep the international theme going. Actually, one of my newer favorite food traditions is that my mom up here on the East Coast, she's from Ireland, and she makes my stepmom. She makes Yorkshire puddings.
Oh, cool.
Oh my gosh, they're the best, which is basically like this light, fluffy, I guess bread for the bed, like a big, it's like a muffin, right? But it's basically just like air of like flour, eggs, milk, water, and like the drippings of usually the roast beef. We usually have roast beef for Christmas or something. Not a huge fan of roast beef myself, but I like the drippings in the Yorkshire pudding, so I'll take it. So and she doesn't make it very often, and so when she does, I'm on the case. I try to hoard as many Yorkshire puddings as possible.
By the way, if for anyone who's wondering, apparently Yorkshire puddings are in the pancake family, so they are similar to pancakes, which is why you love them so much.
I like anything with carbs or anything that resembles bread, actually.
No gluten-free for you.
Oh no, I tried one time. What about you, Mike?
All of it. I will come to all of your homes and eat the food because they all sound great. There's the only thing I've ever turned my nose up at the Christmas table is succotash. Succotash, anything with lima beans, I'm out.
Oh.
And yeah, not a big fan of that. But everything else, like for me, it was well, you guys know I'm a baker, and I bake Christmas cookies every year. I just made my first 2 batches last night, so I'm very late. But hopefully, some of you who will be in the office tomorrow will get some Christmas cookies. Um, for me it was it's more a family dinner thing. Like I love fighting with my cousins over the rolls and stealing the roll baskets and then hiding them, so no, we don't have to share the rolls with the rest of the family. I mean, I hate to make Christmas dinner sound like a competition, but in some ways it very much was, because we were very aggressive about our stuff. But now all of it, the desserts, it's always the best, just I look forward to the eating and the hanging out and the being at the table with everybody. So yeah, I just love it all. Every single portion of it sounds great. We've been talking about what to do for the staff party, so maybe we need to have everybody bring, their stuff, their notable family foods, so that we can then steal them and and enjoy them, but then steal them.
Do a potluck. Potlucks are the best. Like when you see.
Oh, I love potlucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the way to go.
Do you guys do your party post Christmas? Like, is it going to be after?
Oh yeah, we are so busy. The communications department, unlike every other department in the diocese, is actually busiest this time of year. So we don't have the time to get together. So we actually do an epiphany party instead. So we give ourselves a little break. Yeah. So in the 4 minutes we have left, I just want to go around the table and just tell me what your favorite Christmas song is. Christmas song or Christmas hymn? Like what really?
That'll be the last question.
Yeah. What about you, Kari?
Oh, I love this. Well, it's just like a Christian song. It's by Jackie Velasquez, Seasons of Love, not the Rent version. You might know that from Rent.
Love that, Kari.
But I do love that song too from Rent. But this is a Jackie Velasquez, who's a contemporary Christian artist, and the song probably came out over 20 years ago, but it's definitely my favorite. It kind of brings together just the holiness of the season and what the season's about.
That's awesome. How about you, Greg?
I'll give you quickly to the religious one. Mary, Did You Know? I absolutely love that one. And then the second one is Last Christmas by Wham. But also done by Jimmy World. So I like their rendition a little bit better. Most depressing Christmas song out there, but I love it.
All right, another reason I'm going to Bress's house for Christmas. Wham! That's all.
And you picked a controversial Christian Catholic song, very controversial for Catholics.
I was going to say that because
Yeah.
I have mixed feelings about that. Mary, Did You Know?
I know.
Every time I hear it, I'm like, ooh, I don't know.
Yeah, she did. The answer is yes, she did. But it's just a beautiful song.
It is.
It is a beautiful song. You can't the music behind that is really great. Even if you question the lyrics a little bit. How about you, Pete?
Okay. The first thing that comes to mind, I just heard it this morning, was I'm a big fan of yacht rock. Some people might know this. So Kenny Loggins, Celebrate Me Home. If you don't know it, it's just a beautiful, whimsy, sentimental tune. It's happy yacht rock Christmas, everybody. That's what I appreciate. And then I think on the religious side, the first Noel.
Oh, that's a good one. Yep. That's a good one. How about you, Marianela?
For me, like the secular one would be "It's the most wonderful time of the year." I love that song, and like I sing it every time I see, I hear it in the stores. It's amazing. And I love everything Atenas does, and I don't know if you know her, but it's a Spanish Catholic singer. Her name is Atenas or Atenas. And the song that I love for Christmas is the first Christmas. It's called in Spanish La Primera Navidad. So it's an amazing song, and it describes, the first Christmas.
Jen, what about you for music?
Well, Wham's taken, so nice stuff. I like Winter Wonderland because it's romantic, and then I like Green Sleeves or what child is this?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. For me, it is "Oh Holy Night" will always be my number one. Particularly, I've heard bad renditions of it, but Josh Groban is probably my favorite rendition of it. I like a nice, powerful hymn. And then not too far askew from that, my favorite secular is pretty much anything by Trans-Siberian Orchestra,
Oh, yeah.
particularly Old City Bar. I love that. That one gets me every single time. Well, we have come to the end of our podcast, everybody, and thank you all to my fellow hosts for jumping on this hostful episode. I hope you will all have a wonderful Christmas time. And to our listeners, we're going to take next week off, but we'll be back in January. And you all have a great Christmas. See you later, everybody.
Merry Christmas. God bless.
Bye.
Merry Christmas. Feliz Navidad.